You know, AI coding assistants are just getting better and better, right? They're incredibly powerful. But if you've ever used something like Claude Code or Cursor, you've probably hit that same exact wall I have. That moment you realize just throwing a giant prompt at your AI, well, it just doesn't cut it anymore. So, does this sound familiar? You're deep in the zone, right? You're coding, and then poof, your AI assistant just forgets everything you literally just told it. So now you're stuck re-explaining things, feeding it the same code over and over. You're basically just fighting its terrible memory. Well, that feeling, that's what we call the context trap. And honestly, it is one of the biggest headaches in AI coding right now. So to try and get around this, we've all kind of learned this trick called context engineering. And, the idea sounds fantastic in theory. You just carefully handpick and feed the AI the exact little slice of information it needs for one single task. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, in practice, it's a whole different ballgame. Because let's be real, coding is never a straight line. It's messy. You hit some bizarre, unexpected error. The client calls and wants a whole new feature yesterday. Or you realize you need a completely different library than you thought. And every single time that happens, that perfect little context you built, it just shatters. And you're back to square one, rebuilding it all from scratch. It is so brittle, so manual, and yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. So this begs the question, what if we could just change the whole game? The old way is the AI has total amnesia, and you're its full-time babysitter, its context manager. It's manual, it's fragile. But what if? What if the AI had a perfect memory? What if it could manage its own context and become, an actual autonomous and resilient partner in the process? Okay, that right there is the huge paradigm shift we've been waiting for. And it's the absolute core idea behind a brand new system called Archon. It's been designed from the ground up for one specific purpose, to give an AI the power to manage its very own context. All right, so let's do a quick breakdown of the moving parts. First, Archon organizes your work into projects, right? Each one gets its own docs and task list. Then that task list, the backlog, it gets filled in automatically based on what you want to build. There's also this MCP server, which is basically a simple connector for whatever AI agent you're already using. But here's the kicker, the most important part. It has a knowledge base. Think of it as the AI's permanent, long-term, searchable memory. Now, don't get me wrong, all those pieces are important. But that last one, that knowledge base, that is the real breakthrough here. This is the secret sauce that completely changes the game. It turns Archon from just another fancy project manager into a truly autonomous system. And to really get a sense of the scale we're talking about with this long-term memory, just think about this number for a second, 126,000. So what is that? 126,000 times what? Well, it's words, and it represents the entirety of Apple's official SwiftUI documentation. We're talking all 505 pages, just ingested, sitting there in the AI's memory, ready to be queried in an instant. Now that is the kind of long-term memory we've been dreaming about. And I really want to be clear here, this is so much more than just a simple keyword search. This isn't just Control-F. Archon uses a full-blown retrieval augmented generation system. You've probably heard of it, it's called RAG. And that's what gives the AI real, genuine comprehension, not just matching words on a page. So what does that actually mean for you? What does a RAG system get you? Well, for starters, it means you have a proper database. It uses Superbass for all that structured knowledge. It means you get semantic search, so the AI understands the meaning behind your question, the intent, not just the keywords you typed. It even comes with a web crawler that can go out and automatically gobble up entire documentation websites. And the results of all this? Incredibly fast, super accurate information delivered to the AI the split second it needs it. And this quote, this really captures the aha moment of the whole system. The AI agent is programmed so that whenever it feels even the slightest bit of uncertainty about something, it doesn't guess, it doesn't hallucinate. It just automatically stops what it's doing and goes to fetch the exact piece of documentation it needs from that knowledge base. It's incredible. Now, this isn't some black box magic. It's actually guided by a pretty simple rules file inside Archon. And this file basically gives the AI a new set of instructions. It transforms it from just a passive tool that waits for your commands into an active researcher that can actually seek out its own knowledge to solve problems. Okay, so that's the theory, right? It all sounds amazing on paper, but let's take a look at Archon actually works in practice, from setting it up all the way to a finished app. And you know, for a system this powerful, getting started is surprisingly simple. You just clone the repo from GitHub, run one little SQL script to set up your free Supabase database, and then you fire the whole thing up with a single Docker command. That's it. And once it's up and running, the workflow is just as clean. You start by defining your project scope and its features. You know, kind of like writing a basic project requirements doc. From just that, Archon goes and automatically creates the necessary documentation and fills up a whole backlog of tasks for the AI. And then the AI just gets to work. It starts knocking out those tasks all on its own, and this is the key part. It constantly checks back with its knowledge base to self-correct anytime it hits a bump in the road. And this is where it gets, like, really mind-blowing. The agent doesn't just crash and burn when it hits an error. No. It actually identifies the problem itself, creates a brand new task in the backlog just to fix that specific error. It solves it, and then it just seamlessly picks up right where it left off on the original plan. It's wild. So, okay, what does all of this actually mean for the future of coding and software development? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here, because this is way more than just another cool new tool. What's really transformative about something like Archon is how it fundamentally shifts the role of the developer. You stop being a micromanager, constantly feeding the AI context and fixing its little mistakes. Instead, you get to level up. You become the high-level architect, the strategist who focuses on the big picture, defining features and guiding the overall direction of the project. It's also worth pointing out that Archon is currently in a beta release. It's already super capable, as you can see, but the team is planning to launch the final version pretty soon. So we can definitely expect even more polish, a smoother workflow, and better stability down the line. And this quote from the creator really captures the whole spirit of the project perfectly. He says that when our community creates something this powerful, something this foundational, it never just stops there. It becomes a platform, a launching pad that inspires other people to come along and build even more incredible, innovative tools on top of it. And that really leaves us with one last, huge, fascinating question to think about. Archon is a massive step towards solving the AI's memory problem, right? It turns a simple tool into an autonomous partner. So when a breakthrough like that becomes a platform that anyone can use and build on, what in the world are we going to build next?